Good morning. I'm Pete Najarian. This is the Take for Market Rebellion on this Thursday morning from Las Vegas, the town that never sleeps. It's absolutely been unbelievable. People have treated us so well here. It's great. About the markets yesterday, well, we had a really nice move to the upside early on. You look over at the Dow Jones, it was up about triple digits, 250 points early on. But in the final few minutes, the last 60 minutes of the day, we dropped about 160 points from some of those highs and actually closed this session out up about 90 points. So still in the positive, but significantly off of where we were. And then you take a look over at the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq, a similar story. The Nasdaq was up. It was triple digits, up about 100 points. Started to slide about midday, continued to drop. It dropped about 90 points in the final hour or so of the day to finish in the negative. So we are seeing this happen once again, like we had in the past, where we see that last 15 minutes sometimes last hour, sometimes the last couple hours, we start to see major moves. It's been up and down, but most recently, we've seen much more on the downside. As a matter of fact, it's going to be interesting as we close out the quarter today, as we're looking at the calendar. It's going to be really, really interesting to just see how things have really played out through the month of September and this past quarter. So a lot going on. You look at the volatility index, it's been in a pretty decent range, 21 to a little bit over 23, closed around 22.5 yesterday. We were looking across the board, and where were we seeing a lot of the pressure? It really wasn't necessarily technology. Technology was hanging in there, but a lot of what we were seeing, the push to the downside as far as the Nasdaq's concerned, biotech. Biotech was under some pretty decent pressure. It was down about 1.5%, a little bit more than that yesterday. And the semiconductors also under some pressure all throughout the session. That was down about 1.5%. So the big cap tech, not as bad, but you start to look across at some of the other influencers, including some of those Chinese names, a lot of those names getting hit to the downside. I looked over at JD, it was down about 5%. Nettie's down over 3.5%. So you get the idea. Chinese names, biotech, semiconductors, that really was pressuring a lot of what we were seeing in different parts of the marketplace. But it was the semiconductors that really have a very large influence, and that was a pretty big push to the downside that we were seeing. Volumes yesterday, pretty strong once again, not as strong as we were earlier in the week, but 34 million contracts trading yesterday. So we continue to be extremely active in the derivatives world. So crude, it was trading well over 75. It did start to slide a little bit late in the session. So that was something we were keeping a pretty close eye on. But obviously, crude, that has been a storyline, and we're always looking at energy and how that's trading. So this morning, we come in, we've got the jobless claims. It's a little bit above the expectations. It didn't seem to be influencing markets too much early on, but as we start to look back and we look through the quarter and everybody's looking at all these various numbers, obviously everything does matter when we're talking about the markets, and we're always looking ahead. You look back, but then you always are looking ahead, and that's what the markets are constantly trying to do. Early on, pre-market, we're up well over 100 points on the Dow. We were up about 70 points on the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq continues to hold on to basically somewhere between up 75 and up 100 points, but I take a look over at the Dow, it was up 130, then it was up about 110. We started to give it up a little bit. And before I came on, we'd actually gone into the red, down about 25 points. Now, these things move so quickly that easily we right now could be already back into green. We have seen amazing velocity, which I keep using that word, but that is the markets that we are in right now. The movements that we are seeing are happening very, very rapidly. So the crude, which was over 75, actually did get underneath 74 today. We were trading near 73, 73.5. And so that's something I think we're all going to be keeping a very close eye on because of the fact that we've been talking so much about energy and all of the option paper that's been around that. Now, this has been a long-term, we are pushing almost a full year now where energy started to make this turn. And you look at the price of oil at 38, now you're seeing it, it was over 77, but now you're seeing it in the 73s. It gives you a little bit of an idea of what kind of great opportunities there have been along the way as we've continued to see energy hit day after day after day. So the 10-year, I barely brought that up, but that's the critical thing. That is what everybody's been watching. It's kind of hit a pause button. We are somewhere just above 1.5, and that's obviously a different than what we've been seeing, where we've had this incredible movement, but now we're starting to see that maybe settle down just a little bit. right around 153 was the last I looked, but it's still moving around. We've got volatility trading somewhere in the 21, so we're still holding above 20. That's something we're going to watch very, very closely as we get into the day. And obviously, if we start to see a little bit more pressure, not just on the Dow, but then start to reach over the Nasdaq, we might just see that volatility index start to move again to the upside. So technology early on, it's up about 1%. It's basically holding on to that. As I mentioned, the Nasdaq's kind of hanging in there. Energy, it was in the red early, started to slide. Last I looked, it was down about 1%. So it's been on a steady path to the downside. Financials just kind of moving around a little bit, did move into the negative, but we'll see, and that's something we can monitor. We did have a really nice bounce back, and what was really helping out the Nasdaq, you look at the semiconductors up about 1.25. Speaking of which, I'll give you one of those names that's very interesting there as far as unusual. But before I do that, let's focus a little bit on CarMax, down well over 9%. Look at Gap Stores, down over 6%. Look at Dollar Tree, which had a great day yesterday, up about 16%, but giving back a little bit, which is understandable. Today, down about 3%. Those, I think, are some of the highlight names that are pretty interesting. Now, two unusuals, and then I got to get going. I got to myself, I'm the halftime report today, and I'm going to be doing Fast Money, the 5 o'clock show Eastern time as well. So it's going to be a busy day. And of course, Vegas, the Market Rebellion Conference starts this afternoon, this evening, actually. It's going to be really great. A lot of great speakers. We're really excited about it. Great weather. It's going to be absolutely outstanding. And a shout out, actually, to my man yesterday. I'll tell you what, Sean King, wonderful guy. He's part of this new and incredible network of folks and sports betting and all of that. He was nice enough to, I was able to join him yesterday for about a half hour. It was wonderful. Those guys are doing an absolutely great job over there at Circa. So Virgin Galactic is number one. This one, SPCE, very, very interesting to see this paper because everything, it seems like, early on this morning is extremely short. October 1st expiring, almost every single trade that we were seeing. That is tomorrow. So it's got to work between today and obviously before the close tomorrow. So it's going to be really interesting. In that name, in Virgin Galactic, we had 6,500 of the 25 calls. Now, stock was trading at 25, just below. And we had those buyers, 25 cents up to about 90 cents on that 6,500 calls that we'd seen being bought. AMD is my next one. It was trading right around 103. Stock already had made a pretty decent run this morning up towards 103, but about 103.50, we had a buyer of 11,000 of the October 1st expiring 103 calls. Those were about 95 cents up to about $1.70. On top of that, now this is crazy too, we saw 28,000 of the October 1st expiring 4 calls as well. So not only are they buying the 103s, they're buying the 104s, both expire tomorrow. So it needs to make a move in a hurry for these options to be able to play out. We'll see if that's actually going to be able to happen over the next 48 hours, but that is a very, very interesting thing and very aggressive buying that we are seeing there today. And as I mentioned, everything that we are seeing virtually is very short term. October 1st expiring tells you a lot about what these markets are. We know they're volatile. We also know the moves can move with a lot of velocity. That's why people are keeping things very tight and very, very short duration for the most part. Folks, have a great day of trading. I look forward to seeing you on the halftime report. Be very, very smart, disciplined. These markets move in a hurry, and you want to be educated and understand the derivatives markets. Have a great day of trading.